Hello and welcome back to Blue Tinted Glasses. Good morning. It is Sunday morning. It's match day, more importantly. And this is Good Morning Foxes. I'm joined by Rich once again and Luke this time. I'll start with you, Rich, mate. How are you doing today?
Yeah, really good, mate, to be honest. Really good.
Good stuff. Luke, mate, all the way from Australia. What's going on, mate? How you doing?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
All good, all good. Hello to Kunal and Klibo in the chat. Much appreciated. Let us know if you're here watching. Make sure to get your comments in throughout the whole stream. We are going to talk a little bit about the Spurs game, but not just yet, because there's been a lot that's been happening at Leicester City this week. A lot of craziness going on in the press and on the social media and all of that. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Now, I haven't spoken to either of you much this week, I don't think. So I'll start with you, Rich, mate. What do you make to what appears to be chaos going on behind the scenes at Leicester City, with Ruud van Nistelrooy not happy, Facundo Buonanotte not happy, Brighton nearly recalling him. There's more we'll get into. I mean, what's your take on it all, mate? It's never a dull moment at Leicester City, is it?
Absolutely. I don't know, mate. The problem is, as I've said several times, mate, the issue I have is I don't like to get drawn into speculation, because you just don't know. Like, God, how many times have we, I'm sure, even on a tiny scale, been drawn into speculation, with an ex-girlfriend, or, what I mean, like at work or something, and you're like, what are they on about? And so I've just learned to not get involved in it unless it's fact and it's proven. I kind of just stick away from it. So it's crazy, and there's so much that you go, if that's true, then wow. But for me, I'm not getting too embroiled up in it, because, as I say, there's no concrete evidence for a lot of it. So I'm just trying to keep a level head with it.
Yeah, well, you say about no evidence. I mean, one of John Percy's stories in the week was that Caleb Okoli was attacked verbally by Ruud van Nistelrooy for wearing the wrong boots. And then Caleb Okoli came out 24 hours later and said, this is bullshit. Basically, he said, nah, this ain't true. I have actually spoken to somebody who deals with like the social media stuff for Caleb Okoli, and he reckons that someone that he knows reckons that it might be agent talk as well, like stories being leaked by the agent if he wants to leave.
Like how to make your player seem accessible when he's only just signed a contract, because that's the thing. A lot of clubs don't look at people when they've only just signed a contract, because they'll go, oh well, they've only just signed for the club, so what's the point? Well, make a story that he's fallen out with the manager. Like, it did seem so weird to me. And I know that we go, Percy's obviously such a good source. And don't be wrong, I'm not saying that he's lying. There's no way he's lying. You just, as you say, you don't know his source, and is that, what's their motivations. And it just seemed to me a really weird thing for Ruud to suddenly lose his mind over, the type of boots. So there's so many of these stories that have come out that I just go, they don't hold any weight with me until someone comes out and says, yes, that did happen, which they might, fair enough. But right now, like I say, it's a no from me.
Luke, mate, just because Rich is here, don't hold back, mate. What is your take on everything, mate? What are your thoughts on the chaos? Because like me, Luke, you also get quite emotional, quite reactive to things like this, to these stories coming out. So yeah, what do you make to it all, mate?
Yeah, look, Rich gave the really mature, good answer. Not going to get caught with his pants down. Whereas if Flock's pointed out, if you're like me and you're emotional, then yeah, I will probably react and look an idiot later. We did the stream, we were talking about this already. Seen the agent come out of Okoli. Who knows what's true anymore? I just feel like there was just way too much stuff that came out in that article. Like, yeah, sure, maybe like 20-30% of it may be bullshit, including the boots. We don't know. But like, there's too much there for me to believe that there's not. It's like, they say there's no without smoke. There's
no smoke
fire.
without fire. Yeah.
I nearly got it backwards there. I nearly went nailing the hammer.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? So I definitely think there's something going on. The Buonanotte one, that's completely conceivable just because of he's on loan. People think he's good enough to be playing starting for Brighton as it is already. And the fact that he's not, then you'd think he'd definitely be getting times and minutes. So I understand if that's true or not. But look, hey, Why don't you ask Rich why he thinks Ayew starting in front of Boyanote? He told me backstage, guys. I want you to know. Rich said to me that Jordan Ayew could beat Patson Daka in a foot roast.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Point about fake news coming out. There we go.
We'll talk about it. No, we will talk about it later when we speak about the Spurs game, because we'll have a little chat about who we want to start. So before we get to that, though, I mean, Rich, Luke is right about no smoke without fire, because you remember all the Steve Cooper stuff. There were rumors from 3 weeks into Steve Cooper's tenure that things weren't looking good. Like some of the players weren't on board and all of this stuff. And these stories kept leaking and leaking and leaking. And then when he was finally sacked, again, another article from John Percy, and I think Rob Tanner did something as well, explaining that, the players were just never, ever on board with him. So, like Luke said, maybe 20% of it, 30% might be BS, but Percy's heard it from somewhere. And the fact that even if it's a fake story, the fact it's getting leaks shows that something isn't right at the club there.
No, absolutely. I completely agree. Like you say, there's a lot of it that will be true. I'm sure, you say, but it's the thing of, if you had 100 Skittles in front of you and you were told 20% of them would kill you, would you eat any? I wouldn't. So I just, and this is the thing for me, like, I get that it's easy to get emotional and get, and brought up all, and, go, oh my God, this is all happening at the club, and what a nightmare, and, and how I can't believe this is all kicking off. But I just think that, like I say, I do still look at it and go, God, that's mental. Like, that's absolutely crazy that this is happening, or that's crazy that that's happening. But then I go, but how do I know it's happening? And like I said, I've been in many situations in the past, in work, private, and also we've seen this 1,000 times at football clubs, where you just go, it comes out that so-and-so's done this, and then they come out and go, what are you on about? No, that never happened. So, and also, like, going to the Steve Cooper thing, like, but interestingly, did you, I don't know if you've seen the Mark Albrighton interview. It's going to really annoy me now because I've forgotten what it was on. It might have been the Ben Foster podcast. Anyway, he was talking about Enzo, and obviously everyone goes on about how everyone loved Enzo. But actually, he very, very diplomatically said that he didn't like Enzo's style and didn't like the way Enzo ran the club. And so my point is that you're always going to have that dissent. There's always going to be certain people that just don't agree with what you're saying and what you're doing. And so it's interesting. I agree that there was loads with Cooper, because I get it. You don't want to play that brand of football. You've gone from Enzo to him. That was that was absolutely ridiculous. But so to go on to your point, mate, like I say, it's just a bit all over the place, really, in regards to how how the club's leaking this information and whether they are. And if you wouldn't mind, mate, just quickly, I want to touch on one thing that's been brought quite a lot recently about transfers. Like, obviously, I know that there was a thing on the BBC radio podcast recently. I think a gentleman called Ian or something was losing his mind, saying, "Oh well, there's always leaks in the modern day era. We've not heard anything about any players and all this." And I'm like, well, that's completely not true, because we were so amazed at the signings we made last summer, where we were like, "Wait, where the hell have these all come from?" Like, we didn't know of any of these people coming through the door, and then all of a sudden it was announced. Winks at the club. We were like, "What? Where did that come from?" And there was quite a few. So I think what's actually happened is that the club have plugged that leak, either by getting rid of the person or saying to him, "We know it's you, so carry on," and you're gone. I don't know. And there will always be certain links and rumours, but I think that it has been plugged within the club. So it's going to be better.
Trust me, the club love to try and plug the leaks, because I don't know, I wouldn't have told you, Rich, and I don't think I've even said it live on air, but I actually got a phone call from the club maybe about 6 weeks ago, trying to find out how the Brentford game where we got spanked in between Cooper and Rude. I got sent the lineup. It was the surprise one where Luke Thomas was in there all of a sudden for some reason. Yeah. And I put the team news out, and the club actually called me about 6 weeks ago, trying to find out where I got that from. So they do actively try and plug leaks. Of course they do. Nobody wants a leak in the club. But talking of just finally talking about Rude and all of this, Luke, I'm going to bring this up, mate. Let me bring this up here so we can have a little look at it and everybody in the chat can see it. So this was an article that came from Tom Colomos today. So he says, players are said to appreciate Van Nistelrooy's clear communication and tactical meetings, which are short and to the point. Despite an outstanding playing career, Van Nistelrooy is believed to be relatively quiet and reserved about the club's £95 million training centre and behaves more like a traditional manager than a natural training ground coach. He says, let me bring it down here. So when Van Nistelrooy was hired, he made it clear he needed a fullback, a left-sided centre-back, a winger, and a forward. But with financial restrictions in the playground and with the ponderous Rudkin in charge of transfers, progress has been painfully slow, with only fullback Woyo Koulibaly signed in a £2 million deal from Italian club Parma. Now, the last bit on this, if I bring it down here, Rudkin's desire to earn the best deal for Leicester is admirable, yet his haggling can be counterproductive. Now, for me, this kind of is raising the point that Rudkin, the reason we are often so slow with getting transfers over the line is because John Rudkin is actively trying to just get the best deal for Leicester City, which you can appreciate. The problem for me, Luke, is quite often we still end up with a shit deal. So you spend all this time and you still end up with a shit deal. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'd love to be a fly on the wall for some of these negotiations, because things like, Yannick Vestergaard been given a 3-year contract at his age, and the contracts that we gave and Bobby Decova-Reid are absolutely fucking mental, because whatever you want to say about the players, if you think I'm harsh or not, you have to admit that none of those 3 players, for the money that we're paying them, are getting moved on ever. So essentially you can put them in the bracket of all the other people in the last 3 or 4 years that have added to that tally of £300 million that have fought for nothing. So that's bad business dealing, in my opinion. As for all that article that you just put up there, I think it was actually you, Rich, that said it in the last show that you guys did. I think the problem is you talk about the culture of, the Asians keeping their cards close to their chest from Thailand and the nature of business, which I can appreciate and respect. But at the same time, I think it was you also, the lack of transparency is what causes all these rumors to go wild. And then also what makes the fans turn on people, because then you start making assumptions. So there has to be a middle ground, in my opinion, if you're going to be quiet and a reserve club and keep your cards close to chest. I get it, but at some time you're going to have to address it, because otherwise things like this happen. And if this was at the King Power, for instance, and all this stuff had just come out, we go 1 goal down, it's probably going to be the most toxic you've ever heard it ever. So,
well, a live update while we're live talking about Rudkin trying to get the best deal. Are you ready for this, boys? Fabrizio Romano has just tweeted this. Hoffenheim have made multiple offers for Leicester City left-back Luke Thomas. No green light from the Foxes so far. Proposals worth around €5 million. Not enough yet to convince Leicester. Now, for me, Rich, if I got a £5 million offer for Luke Thomas, I would snatch their hand off. Absolutely. It would take me a second. I would see the money and I would say, give me that money now, because I don't think Luke Thomas is anywhere near Premier League quality.
Yeah, but so a bit of an insight into me. I'm actually a negotiations expert, so I've been in sales my whole life, and I have to negotiate all the time. So the problem is what we don't know. There's so many factors here we don't know. We don't know whether that's their first offer. We don't know whether there's other people interested and you're playing them off against each other. You never accept the first offer. You never, and if you've got an asset, so essentially if you've got the gold, you're going to always have buyers for gold. So if you're having to go out and find buyers for that gold, then you're in the worst position. Whereas if you've already got gold and you've got buyers, and then that's absolutely brilliant. Sorry, if you're looking for gold to sell to people, that was the adage there. But anyway, with that situation, we just don't know. They might genuinely be okay with 5 million, but go, right, well, let's just test the waters. Let's see if we can get a little bit more, because why not? We've got time in the window, so let's see. Obviously, Top's just cleared a load of debt. That's going to relieve a lot of pressures. We're on about buying this centre-back for 20 million from AC Milan. So we've obviously got the money in the pot, because we were told, oh, yeah, we're already going to have 10 million to spend. That was the sort of rumours near the start of the transfer window. And now all of a sudden we're looking at getting a defender for 20 million, and we'll still be looking at elsewhere, So there are, and this is to go to Luke's point, and, revisiting what we said last year, I think the key point is if you keep your cards close to your chest and you don't and you allow the media, so to speak, to create these rumors, it's always going to be worse in everyone's head. So, like, if you think of, oh God, I can't remember the film now, the Quentin Tarantino one about the bank robbery gone wrong. Anyway, they never actually show the bank robbery; they just show the aftermath. Yeah. And he says he made that decision specifically so that the bank robbery and the things they're describing would be so much worse in people's heads, because he knows he could never show, these things happening as crazy as we would make it up in our heads. And that's, it's sort of storytelling 101. And so I think that's, unfortunately, Leicester are the victim of that, because they're being so keeping the cards close to the chest and they're being so close-knit. Us as fans are going, oh my God, Van Nistelrooy's kicking off about boots and he's fuming and he's going to leave if we don't get 10 signings through the door. And actually, realistically, we don't know. They genuinely could be doing loads in the background, and we could end up with 3 signings, from now until the end of the transfer. And it's unlikely, but we could.
I know, I do get that point, Rich. However, because my whole point is that, we go through this long-winded negotiation process with many incomings and outgoings, and we still end up with a bad deal, right? So just one more thing to just bring up here, which just backs that point up. And it's this, which says, at the start of the window, Sheffield United want Hamza Chowdhury on a loan with an option to buy. Leicester would agree only to a loan with an obligation for a player on a hefty contract who is unwanted by the current manager. On Friday, Leicester agreed to a loan with option after all. Valuable time lost over a single issue in a month when speed and flexibility are vital. So we've just wasted 3.5 weeks, right? I'm not saying, Hamza going...
What's 3.5 weeks, mate? What, like,
it's massive, isn't it? Because we've played Fulham, we've played Palace, and we've got 0 points. So I'm saying that if you did get...
he wouldn't have played in any of those games. So what does it matter?
It would have allowed incomings, because that's what the whole thing is now. We're saying we're waiting for outgoings before we can have incomings. Go on.
Sorry. This goes back to what we were just talking about before, where the club have to come out and say something, because, like, if what you said is to believe to be true from the previous deals and summers and stuff like that, we've had signings all come in last minute out of nowhere. Even the last January transfer window when we got relegated, I think it was Suter came on the last day, Tete came on the last day, Victor Christensen came in, I think, 2 weeks before they did, but he hadn't had a preseason yet, if I recall correctly. But the problem is they're not talking to us, because we're now been led to believe that Tom Cannon was sold to bring money in so we could bring someone else in. So even if we have all these people lined up, why are we dicking around waiting till the last week of the transfer window when we could have been picking points up potentially off these people that we've brought in? That's the only gripe that I have, if that was to believe to be true. Do you know what I mean? So I think there's something to be said for that.
And the only other thing I'd just ask you, Rich, is like with the Koulibaly deal, for example, right? So let's say it took so long because we got him for £2 million. So let's just say if we got it done earlier, it cost an extra $1 million. Let's just say, this is just hypothetical.
Yeah.
Would having him for the Fulham game and the Palace game have been worth $1 million? I mean, you could argue yes, because you could have got 6 points from that game.
Incomings, I completely agree, mate. Incomings, I agree. Like that, 3 weeks does make a huge difference. Outgoings, I don't think makes a difference. As in, unless it's the likes of, obviously, Edouard. That makes a difference because we potentially get someone else in specifically. You can make transfers on the back of going, we know we're going to sell this guy at some point. We've got loads of offers for him. So let's start looking and let's make the moves going for, this centre-back because we know we're going to bring 10 million in for Cannon and we're realistically going to get Chowdhury off the books. My point is about outgoings. Unless it's someone that you cannot do anything until they are out the door, realistically, you can wait to, but this is the thing. That's what all the other clubs are doing. We put all this on Leicester. It's not just Leicester's decision, You know what I mean? Like we always go, oh, right, well, yeah, money talks and you could just do this and say this and put the, but ultimately, their manager might not want to lose that guy. And they might be having negotiations with their manager where he's saying, well, like very much like Ruud van Nistelrooy did, by the way, get rid of my players and I'm gone. So, and then they're having to take time and make decisions. It's not as simple as just put the money on the table and they're gone straight away. It does still take time.
Yeah, here's my prediction. And we are doing a live stream on deadline day. So if I'm wrong, then everybody come back and give me a stick. This is my prediction. Hoffenheim are offering 5 million for Luke Thomas. Leicester City will stall, try and get more, and come the end of the deadline day, he will still be at Leicester City, and we lose him for free at the end of the season anyway, and we've just lost 5 million quid. So that's my prediction. If I'm wrong, everybody come back and tell me I'm an idiot. So, right, Spurs, big game today. Luke, I've seen somebody already in the chat call Spurs Charity FC. I would argue that the biggest charity in the league is Leicester City, not Spurs. So how do you see this one going, mate? They're without some big players. They're missing Solanke, they're missing Sarr, they're missing Udogie. Maddison will be there though, I'm sure. What are you thinking? Because you did the preview with a 0 in the week. Summarize for us, mate, what your thoughts are into this game.
Coley to start. No, I'm just kidding. It depends on how they get started, to be honest. If they completely just boss the ball and just control it right from the get-go of their high press, I can see us getting absolutely bent over. If we can maybe potentially get lucky and put a ball over the top and catch them with their pants down, and maybe Vardy or Daka or someone to score, and we can get the because they're going to be just as toxic as we'll be at their stadium as well, because a lot of them are shout for Ange and think that even at the injury list they're in no man's land and they shouldn't be. So. And plus, Ange has been talking mad shit. Like he's been saying, every second season I win something, and he's down where he is, so that's not helping him. So I can see it going one of two ways. I can see us getting absolutely spanked and Song dishing out his customary hat trick to Charity FC, which is actually Leicester, as you just pointed out. Or I can see us maybe getting a little smash and grab early, hopefully, and then just holding off with a victory. That would be amazing. Honestly, I'd love nothing more than for us to get a win and put even like a Coley start, and then Rude just come out and just say, stick that up your ass, Percy, you talk shit, fucking bend the knee. But I unfortunately can't see it happening, man. I think that's just been a little bit too deluded and optimistic. What do you think? And just quickly, might I just add for everyone in the comments, because I agree with this. Rich, I understand where you're coming from, but if we're led to believe that like 10 million, like we needed for Cannon to come in and make sales, fucking take whatever is offered for Luke Thomas, because it's pure profit, because he's a Leicester City Academy player. Okay, so it's pure profit. And let's be real here. He's been chewed up and spat out by 2 championship clubs in the space of about 6 months, and none of them wanted him. So I reckon fucking take it.
Yeah.
I think sell him. Yeah, absolutely. I think he'll go, by the way. Opposite of what you think, Luke. Sorry, not Luke. Lux. I think he'll go. But I just think that they're waiting for a slightly better offer, because they can always go back to that, obviously, unless they end up going for someone else, which obviously could happen. But that's the dice you roll, so to speak.
Yeah. What about you, Rich? Obviously, Spurs missing some big players. I mean, on paper, you would say that this is the perfect time to play Spurs. I mean, the title of this video is El SACKICO, because although I don't think Ruud van Nistelrooy will be sacked, there is a chance he could be. That would be 8 losses on the spin in the Premier League, which is unheard of. And it's disastrous if that happens. But I do think if Leicester won, Ange Postecoglou probably would be sacked. So, what's your take, mate? Because it's a high pressure game, and talk to us about it, mate.
I'm really excited. I watched the preview that yourself did, Luke, and it was brilliant. And I think for me, I don't think we're going to score first. I think they're going to score first. But I actually am not that worried if they score first, because they are just so terrible at the back. And as you said, it's never been a better time to play them because their confidence is on the floor. I know they've just had a win, but that's brilliant. They've just played Thursday. How good's that they're playing then? And we're, so they're going to be knackered. They've barely got any players anyway, and they're all going to be knackered from playing Thursday. For me, this is the best time to play them. I see a win. And I think that it'll be 2-1. I think they'll score first. They'll take the foot off the gas because they'll think, brilliant, we've won, and then we'll hit them on the break. I can also randomly see a red card from Tottenham. I don't know why. And then I also think, I think Akoli will play and have a great game, and then Ruud will go and kiss his boots. But no. So, for me, I see a 2-1 win. I don't know. Tottenham are still Tottenham. Like you just don't know what you're going to get with them. They are the box of chocolates team, I think. But yeah. So for me, I do see a win, and I'm looking forward to it. Annoyingly, I'm not watching it. I'm actually playing today at the same time. I've got kick off at the same time, so I'm gonna have to learn updates as I go. But yeah.
Sorry, Rich, mate. I've got to bring this comment up, mate. And obviously, this channel, Blue Tinted Glasses. I don't often wear blue tinted glasses because I see things very negatively at the moment. However, Tony says that Rich has blue tinted binoculars on his head. Yeah. You are a very positive fan, Rich, which we like, because it kind of it it grounds us. I think me and Luke like to go off in. Look at Luke. Me and Luke like to go off on tangents and rants, but it is always nice to hear somebody who sees things more positively. Before we continue talking about it, though, I'm going to drop Luke and Rich out for literally a few minutes. So stay where you are, just because we have a fan who is traveling down to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as we speak. So here she is. Kate, what's going on?
Morning. How are you doing?
I'm all good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks. Sorry, there's a little bit of a delay, so hopefully that sounds okay.
That's all right. That's all right. So you're heading down to the stadium. We've just heard from Luke and Rich. I think Luke expects a loss and Rich expects a win. What are you going for?
I'm thinking of...
Oh, we've lost her. Oh, we've got you. We've got you. Oh, we've lost you, Kate. We've lost you. We've lost you. We've lost you. I think she said a draw. We'll keep her there just in case. Can you hear us, Kate?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying a draw. Do you think or do you want to see Woyo Koulibaly make his Leicester City debut?
Of course we do. We need some fresh faces. I need a chance to sing. Bloody hell. Come on.
What do you think? JJ will be dropped or moved over to the left, or what are you thinking? What are you thinking for the back four?
Yeah, I think JJ will probably be dropped if he wants to. Mind you, when a new player comes in like that, I'd like to see him start, but I can imagine it will be like a 60-minute substitution thing and we'll probably see JJ start. But if he is going to start him, then JJ will be dropped. I don't think he'll move JJ over to the left. I think JJ needs a break. We've said that for a long time. JJ just needs a bit of a breather.
Yeah. I mean, Jack here, Kate, says it is a do or die. We need to get a result today. I mean, of course, playing Spurs is never easy, but I was just saying to the lads here that, you know, on paper, it's the best time to play them with the injuries and the form that they've got. Do you know, how do you see the game going? Because Rich reckons they'll score first and we'll reply with 2. How do you see it going?
Yeah, we're never scoring first. Come on. I've heard there's only 12 fit players, which will be interesting today. So their injuries are troublesome for sure. And I think from what I've read, their defensive frailties are very similar to ours. The fullbacks get pulled out of position. There's loads of space in behind. There's a lack of concentration and awareness of what's going on defensively from their players. So I think we might be seeing 2 very poor defences here. So it will be a case of who can take their chances. So yeah, I just don't know. I think that it'll be a draw today, and I would take that. It's not do or die because luckily the people above us haven't, you know, Ipswich are still in it. It seems to be a little four-team mini league, but yeah, we need to start capitalising at some point. We've got to stop the rot. We've got to stop the rot.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm guessing it's not you driving, Kate. Otherwise, you're incriminating yourself live on YouTube.
No, I'm staying very legal, thanks. I'm in the passenger seat.
There we go, Kate. I'll let you go so you can enjoy your journey in peace without hearing my bloody voice. Score prediction quickly. Sorry, score prediction. Desmond. Oof, there we go. 2-2. I think we'll all be happy with that. To be fair, I think we'll all be happy with that. Even Rich.
Looks stressed already.
I'm fucking stressed, and I'm going to be bald by the end of the season, I reckon. Fucking hell.
Yeah, I'm going to buy him an end of season, mate. yeah, look at Rich. Yeah, exactly. Kate, thank you. We'll see you soon. All right,
see you later.
Cheers. Thanks to Kate. Okay, so Kate spoke there about the little mini league, lads. Let me bring up the Premier League table so we can have a little look at it. And I'll scroll
battered again, didn't they?
They did indeed. Here we go. I'm just bringing it up now. So there it is. So here's the league table. So, you know, Everton picked up a win yesterday away at Brighton.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. You could call it the David Moyes effect, right? David Moyes stayed patient. The rumours has it he didn't want to come to Leicester City, and he went to Everton. Luke, do you think Everton are just out of touch now, and it is between Wolves, Ipswich, Leicester, and, well, I say Southampton, probably not Southampton, but Wolves, Ipswich, and Leicester for that 17th spot?
I got to be honest with you. I think so. Yeah, I think it was the right time for Moyes to come in, as you said, being patient with Everton. Unfortunately, I wanted to think that Everton would be. Yeah, we have the same conversation every season, that Everton are going to go down. They can't get away with it forever. They definitely do have 9 lives. They're getting towards the end, but I think Moyes is the perfect appointment if you want to just stay on by the skin of your teeth, set up defensively really well. We saw that against Tottenham. I also think that he's going to have access to more money, obviously, than Leicester will. So I think that Everton will be all right, mate. I hate to say it. But Wolves, I really have got rekindled belief after some of the stuff that you were saying on the last Fox's Den with Anil, where we were saying the culture there's going to get proper toxic, particularly for Silcunha. So if we can get a win today, okay, and Rude can come out and flex and fucking put on a Coley's boots and, like I said, talk shit and we look positive, and then all of a sudden we get like 3 signings come in, then yeah, we're back to the races again, 100%. But that's being really optimistic. Look, I really do think it comes between us and Wolves, and even Ipswich. I can see they've really, really spent, and they've got, like I said at the start of the season, I could see maybe even Ipswich stay with the skin of their teeth, but I don't know so much now because they've just been getting tanked. I don't know, Locks, to be honest with you. I want to wait till after this game. I think this is as good a game as any, as we pointed out, with the amount of injuries that Tottenham have. But the worrying thing is we said the same thing. We played Aston Villa with the injuries they had and when they swapped it. You know what I mean? So, but also what Rich said, I'll pull it up for you as a slide when we do the pre-match, but they played close to the same 11 that they did against Everton, against Hoff, who I can't remember who it was that they played. So they were forced to go like strong in that Europa League game as well. So they're definitely going to be some sore legs in there, mate.
Yeah, Rich. Obviously, Luke mentioned there the Villa game, which is true. They were without like Morgan Rogers, John Duran, Pau Torres, I think Conser as well, maybe. They were out. Yeah. They were without some big players, and yet we still lost. I suppose the mindset from Ruud van Nistelrooy right now probably is don't even focus on them. We have to focus on ourselves. We can't be thinking about them. We've got to just impose our game plan, what we want to do, and try and come out with the points.
Absolutely, mate. I think Aston Villa are a better team, to be honest with you, than Tottenham anyway. And I think that they have a manager who has more in his locker than Ange. And we all, as a neutral, love watching Ange, like, crack on, mate. And I hope he doesn't get fired just because I want to keep seeing him, in the Premier League. But as a manager, he hasn't got as much to offer. You know what he's going to do. Like it's like Enzo. You know what he's going to do. So if you can just tailor your game to counter that, brilliant. It's very much like I would, to use a bit of a weird analogy, but like in MMA fighting, if you've got someone who's an incredible striker and that's all they work on, and they don't, so they could knock you out with one punch or one kick, just take them down. You know what I mean? That's all you need to do, and then you're going to beat them, and vice versa. So for the striker, you just need to, work on wrestling defense. It's as simple as that. So whereas with Ange, it's like, no, I am a brilliant striker. I'm just going to go in. I'm going to kicks, knees, arms, elbows. I'm going to go for everything. So we just need to be like, okay, cool. I'm going to take you down. I'm going to, drag you about on the floor. So but this is where it becomes a little bit, different from the Aston Villa game. Is I think that they didn't have as many injuries, and also they've got, they've got a way of adapting, whereas, I don't think Tottenham do. And that's why I think we've got some, that's why I just think we could win today. Look, we could absolutely get absolutely hammered. Of course we could. We could draw, we could get the Desmond, and that would be a decent result, just getting a point. It's not ideal, but away at Tottenham, realistically, we got a point at the start of the season at our ground. A point is, especially after, 7 losses, a point is better than, obviously a loss. But I think we're going to win. I don't know. I've just got a feeling today, lads. I think I've got a feeling we're going to win. So yeah, that's my prediction.
People in the chat, by the way, guys, anyone watching, please continue to get your comments in. Be very much appreciated. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Now, I want to talk about something I just mentioned to Kay, and it was the new man, Woyo Koulibaly. Now, I believe that there is a chance. I say there's a chance, but there is a chance that just his addition into the starting 11 might give everybody a lift. We know how stale lineups or squads get when it's just untouched. It's the same players. It's the same starting 11 every week. It can get very stale. I mean, you remember even the Rodgers season, the relegation season, we signed Victor Christiansen, Tete, and Suter. Now, although two of them, well, you could argue all of them ended up being duds, right? But and we got relegated regardless. In the first couple of games, didn't we beat Spurs and we beat Villa, right? Or
Yes.
I think we beat Spurs and we beat Villa. And for me, at that point, there was all of a sudden a new energy about the players for those couple of games where everyone just felt, everyone seemed a bit like their heads were up instead of down, like they had been all year. And I feel like Koulibaly could have that effect today because he seems like a very energetic player, someone who's going to give the all, getting up and down that pitch quickly. I mean, I feel like it could give everyone a boost, Luke.
Yeah, I hope so, mate. Players and fans alike. I do remember that vividly. I remember I was playing a poker game on my birthday with a bunch of friends, and I was a chip leader by a mile. I stood to win a decent amount of money at poker of the lads. And I saw the starting 11 came out, and I committed basically suicide by just shoving all in hand after hand. And everyone's like, what are you doing? And I said, bro, we're going to play all three of these players that we just signed. I was like hyped up. We're in the relegation fight. And everyone's like, why don't you just put it on the TV here? And I'm like borderline autistic. I'm like, nah, I have to be at home alone. I have to sit there and watch this and analyze it. And I will never forget that when Tete scored that goal, when he's shadow boxing, I was just like, oh, all aboard. We're going to be safe. Victor Christensen giving it this. It was exactly what we needed in that Aston Villa game. It was a great win, but unfortunately, it wasn't the case. I definitely think it could be left. It's just interesting to see where he's going to put him. He plays at both feet. Does he replace Christensen? The obvious answer, he probably most likely replaces JJ, or does he play in the right back and push JJ further up the pitch, or vice versa? He could play into three different positions, but the most likely answer is JJ gets given a rest and he starts at right back. So it'll be interesting to see if he starts him. If he doesn't start him, I think at the very least we can see him come off the bench.
What's your take on it all, Rich? Because, for me, this is, I mean, for where we are in the league and how things have gone this season, you just try and cling on for anything for hope. And I'm clinging on that even just one guy coming in who's barely played, who's barely, I wouldn't say he's set, the Italian league alight. He's just been a decent player in Italy. But I'm hoping that he turns our fortunes around. It's mad that I'm even saying it, but yeah, what are your thoughts on it?
Mate, I couldn't agree more. Like, I think I hope what he does is he plays him on the right and he moves JJ onto the left. JJ for me has always played better on the left, and I think JJ is better than Christensen personally. I know Duck would kill me for saying that, but sorry, mate, I don't rate Christensen as much as you do. But what I would say is that it does make a massive difference. I think even to put it again into a really crap analogy, but in my 11-a-side games that I'm going to play today, we lost a few on the bounce, and then we had this new lad that started with us, and no, there was a couple of players that knew him, but like I didn't. And then we you could just feel the energy of the group was a bit like, oh God, here we go again. We're probably going to get tanked today, or we're probably going to lose. And then he got on the ball and just like rounded two players, and everyone went, "Oh my God!" So all of a sudden the energy just went through the roof, and we all just started bombing up and down, and and it was like, "Oh, there's a point of doing this now," because before I'm on the left wing, I know my striker's not going to be there if I get to the wing, so I'm going to have to hold it up. The right winger doesn't stand a chance because he's just horrendous. God, I hope none of my team watch this, so we were just like. So it made me just like, sometimes I wouldn't make the run because I was like, well, what's the point? I'm going to get the ball and I could potentially get the ball, but I can't do anything with it because it's me v4 defenders. But then as soon as he came in, I was like, oh, there's a point here because we've got a really good player who's going to be there when I get. And so it just lifts you, and obviously I'm an absolute idiot at the lowest level with nothing on it, and so now 10 times that by 1,000, because these are Premier League players that this is their life. You get a new player in who, who's got energy, and you just go, it just lifts you. And like that, as we've said in the past logs, 1% at that level is huge. So, even if it raises all the players by 1%, then happy days.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, mate. I know what you mean. I mean, it's been a long time since I last played any football. But when I did, I hear what you're saying. Even when you're in school, right? If you're on the losing team and then maybe someone switches teams, someone who's really good comes onto your team, then everyone just plays better all of a sudden, right? And I think what you said as well about options, like when how many times this season have we seen it where we kind of get the ball into a decent area and then the ball goes out to JJ and everyone's like, and even the fans, and also probably some of the players are like, oh, here we fucking go. Well, you know, nothing's going to happen here. So just having somebody else in that position to pick up the ball and hopefully do something with it is promising. What do you make to this one, Luke? Need to change the system, set the team up to counter-attack. I mean, Ruud van Nistelrooy was very vocal when he first joined the club, saying that he's not a stubborn manager and that he will change things when necessary. Although performances have definitely improved under Ruud van Nistelrooy compared to Cooper, results have gone downhill. So is it time Ruud van Nistelrooy switches up the approach?
It's a tricky one because me and Anil, I was very torn on this about how we approach this game. Do we try and nullify them having possession and like dictating the pace and inviting wave after pressure, even if we're structurally sound defensively? Or do we go for the counter attack, you know, ball over the top? It would very, very suit of how Tottenham play. I definitely recommend you go and watch their preview if you haven't already of Anil and I. I'm very torn on this one. Plug. Yeah, cheeky plug. I really don't know, mate, to be honest with you. Like, would you play a back five? Do you go for the ball over the top? I'm really torn between the two. I just think that with the centre backs that we've got right now, I'd prefer not to play counter-attacking football because I just don't have faith in them at the moment, to be honest with you. So I think just go and watch the preview if you want to see my thoughts. I'm very torn. I've definitely got splinters up my ass for this one.
Yeah, well, there's lots of content on the channel today. We've obviously got this Good Morning Foxes. We've got Matchday Live starting from 1:40 and then the instant reaction. So if you need something to fill your time between now and, well, when this video ends and the Matchday Live starting, then, of course, if you haven't seen it, go and check Luke and Anil's preview. Rich, again, I'll ask you the same thing, mate. Van Nistelrooy says that he's not stubborn. I mean, you know, I think performances have improved. You know, if you look at the data, and I know people don't like data because everyone only cares about points. And of course, points is the most important thing. And Cooper was getting more points than Ruud van Nistelrooy currently is. So would you say that is the reason why he does have to change the approach? Because it's just going to get tiresome for fans, for players, if we keep playing the same way and we keep losing.
Yeah, I think something I've been very vocal about from the start is that one of the main reasons we're losing these matches, in my opinion, is because our strikers can't find the net. To be honest with you, they couldn't finish the dinner at sometimes. So, and that is, you know, again, it does make a massive difference. If Jamie Vardy or Mavadidi or whoever is missing an absolute sitter, the guys in defence go, oh, God's sake, you know what I mean? That would like that. Now we've got to do, you know, now we've got to be even more defensively sound because we can't even put the ball in the back of the net. Like, it makes a massive difference. And also, how many times have we talked about it shifts the energy? You get one. You know, what does that mean in regards to how does the team, you know, react against Man City? Obviously, Vardy misses one where we could have made it level. Changes the game completely. And these are the moments that I think are, you know, are huge. And so I think, you know, too much emphasis is placed on, you know, the defence. And don't be wrong, obviously they could always be better. Every position could be better. But when your strikers are missing absolute sitters, like I was at the QPR game when we won 6-2. I took my nephews. It was their first ever game. And again, you know, Vardy skied one from like 6 yards out, and you're like, what is happening? You know what I mean? Like it's just you, and it just blows my mind, you know. And this is the thing, like, if we're not going to put the ball in the back of the net in the Premier League in these key moments, then we are just going to keep losing games. And that, for me, you can't blame Ruud for that. You know, just like I also said, you know, and I know this is going way back to the Cooper era, but I also said you can't blame Cooper for defensive errors that, you know, you wouldn't expect a Sunday League team to make, because that's not his fault. He's not there with an Xbox controller. You know what I mean? Like, so. And I say the exact same for Ruud, you know, with these. So unfortunately, he's being let down by the players, as I do believe Cooper was as well. And we just need a bit of clinicalness in that final third. And then I think, you know, a few of those goals go in that should have, and I think it's a different story. But yeah, so we'll see, mate.
That's what we keep saying, though, isn't it? I mean, you know, Anil does the analysis, and you know, with all the detail he goes into, you know, sometimes he just says something which is very simple, which is that, you know, in some of them games, if things went slightly differently, if Vardy, you know, found his shooting boot. I mean, was it the Palace game where he was 1-on-1 and he hit it with his left instead of his right? If he took it with his right, we'd be 1-0 up. We'd probably go on to win the game, right? But we've been so there's just been such a lack of clinical finishing. I mean, under Cooper, that was a positive. We were very clinical in my eyes under Steve Cooper. We took our chances, the limited chances that we did have. But yeah, let's see this comment here from Tube Tart, who says, totally agree. We are not converting chances. Rude has set up the team well in all games. We are playing better, but not finishing. That's not Rude. It's the players, which kind of backs up why Rude wants players. He wants new players so much. Just a quick shout out to Rich as well from Wayne. He says, Rich is such a great counterbalance to you and Luke. Articulate, well-reasoned, and great to see you all laughing about stuff. Rude is the man. 2-1 today. So yeah, everybody in the chat, start getting your score predictions in now. What do you think to this, Luke? Isaac says, I do the 3-4-2-1, similar to Wolves.
I was actually going to ask you to start that comment because I've been thinking about the last 2 minutes while you guys were talking and what I would change personally. It's too late for systematic changes, but in my opinion, that this system that Rude plays would probably look a lot better if Ricardo Pereira was fit and firing in the team. I think him inverting would help so much because then it would therefore allow one of our build-up to then get one extra person in the build-up and then be able to crash the box, which I think is something that was sorely missing with the 2-8s that we used to have with Dewsbury Hall and Ndidi when we played in the Enzo system. Granted, that was in the championship, although I think there is something to be said for that. Can we stretch the pitch at the back? Can we play possibly a Coley as a left-sided centre-back with Yannick in the middle and Faze on the right? Drop Christensen and JGL together. In my opinion, can we play with a double pivot in front of them with Samari and Ndidi? You know what I mean? There's different things that we could possibly do that would help us because our build-up play is good at times, particularly, usually only the first 10, 15 minutes of the game, but the final product is not there. How much of that is down to what you just said before, Vanilla? If Vardy has his shooting boots on, or do we need more people crashing the box? That's what my opinion is. Too many times I see a winger go down the usually JJ, and when the ball comes in, there's about 4 opposition players in the box and only Vardy. It's not enough. He's not big enough to win an aerial header. I think this crossing is not going to work with that style from Christensen on the other side either. So I definitely think we need more players crashing the box, not people pushing forward. And I think for that to work, you probably do have to surrender and play a back 3.
The final thing I want to ask about before we get to score predictions, Rich, is I remember in the first game of the season, we played Spurs. And in the build-up to it, there was a very weird thing. I know you're not on Twitter. Somebody actually asked on the chat earlier if you're on Twitter, and you're not because, you think it is a very toxic place, which it is, but I can't stay away from it. But yeah, there was a big debate back then about clapping players. It was weird. It was everywhere. People were saying, should we clap Madders? Should we clap Madders? I'm saying, first of all, why are you calling him Madders? You're not 10 years old. But secondly, I didn't get why this whole debate was going on. What is your take on it, Rich? Do you, what
the hell you want to do? Why is it a debate? If you want to clap James Maddison, clap James Maddison. If you don't want to clap him, don't. If you want to boo him, boo him. I think you'd be an idiot, but boo it. Why is this a debate? And this is why I'm not on Twitter, because that sort of thing is fostered. It's like, yeah, let's have a debate about whether we should clap an ex-player. Grow up. Like, God, you're going to get me on my high horse now. And this is the problem with social media, in my opinion. Like, why is that? If you want to clap him, personally, if he came over and started clapping in my area, I'd give him I wouldn't be stood there for 2 minutes giving him a standing ovation. But if he came over and just showed a bit of respect to us, then absolutely, I'd reciprocate that.
I was going to say, Rich, on the flip side, what do you make to what happened after the Crystal Palace game where we got beat and Jordan Ayew went over to the Palace fans and started clapping? Because there was a lot of backlash over that.
Of course there is, because no one likes Jordan Ayew. So, you know what I mean? Like, they're going to pick up on everything he does. So, to be honest with you, I don't, he played for them for a hell of a long time. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he was loved there. So, to be honest, if you were giving him backlash, it's not because you think what he did was wrong. It's because you don't like him. So, you know what I mean? Like, it is that thing of, it's a personality clash essentially, or, obviously I know it's not personality because you don't know him personally, but it's that thing of when you get like really late in a relationship, or there's that person at work that really annoys you, that you don't know why, but they just really annoy you, and then it's just to the point of like, stop breathing because I can hear you breathing, it's annoying me. That is how so many of our fans have got with Jordan Ayew. And so, it just becomes that whatever he does is picked up on. And, I'm surprised rumours haven't come out that he's the one kicking off at Coley for wearing boots. You know what I mean? So, So my thing of if it is, I would, if Madders, as an example, we'll go Madders, came over and started clapping at us, some Tottenham fans would be fuming. Why is he doing that? He plays for us now. Some of them would understand because he played for us for a long time and we gave him his first shot in the Prem, so to speak. So you can't win. And this is what I've said so many times. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So it's
no, I was going to say, but you're right in a way, because if Vardy played for somebody else next season and they visited the King Power, you'd expect him to come and clap us, right? So
yeah. I'd also expect him to make a joke if he scored against us.
I'd kiss him on the mouth. If Madders came to me and sorry to talk over him, if Madders came to me, I'm like, he's 100% fan, and came to me and clapped, I'd fucking grab him by the back of the head and kiss him. Dead set. I'd be done. I'd be in jail. Like, I love James Maddison. So I got no issue of clapping James Maddison for what it's worth. I am his agent, lawyer, everything. Security guard, 100%. James Maddison, amazing football player. I think people that are getting upset about that are fucking weirdos. I don't get it. Find something else to complain about. Twitter is toxic. Sorry, Rich. I had to get my gay 2 cents out.
No, I absolutely agree.
What's the beef then between you two with Jordan Ayew then? What's going on? Luke, I understand, Luke, you think he's a slow donkey. And Rich, you look, I am in the middle.
Top scorer.
Trust me, I'm in between you both. I'm in the middle of you both.
I've got to shoot in a minute, but I'll say this. No, I just don't want him to start. I think there's a time and place for Ayew, and I think that he's a finisher, not a starter, in my opinion, particularly for winning a game. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened for a long time. They haven't been leading any games, but I think he's the kind of person, if he's hold-up play, absolutely does win a free kick. Let's say we're trying to slow the game down. It's like the last 5-10 minutes, whatever, we're in the lead, and we want to keep it. Yeah, 100%. Jordan Ayew, yes, intelligent Premier League experience. I get it. I just think starting him is redundant. I think that it doesn't. This defensive cover is a myth that we have for JJ with Ayew, in my opinion. And he wouldn't have the pace to do it. So and also for drawing the free kicks, I just feel like it goes nowhere. Like when we start him, like he wins a free kick, everyone sets up, they get reshaped, everyone gets back in position, and then it's back to square one. So I don't really feel like it does anything advantageous for the free kicks. I know, but I think that I feel like Buonanotte, a lot more will happen if him on the ball if he were to start. But I could be wrong, mate. Like, you're right to pull at the stones. I don't hate him. I just don't like the deal that we gave him.
Yeah. And look, to my counterpoint to all that is, I agree with a lot of what you said. I just think it depends on the game, because Buonanotte has also cost us a lot of goals. He's also, by the way, our other joint top scorer. So it's like, it's between him and Ayew. But I think he has cost us more goals by trying to, do stuff out the back. Like, I can't remember the game now, but there was one, he got it on the edge of our box, tried to go through, and they got it and they scored. Like, so he has done more ththings that have cost goals than Ayew has. And Ayew has done a lot. Now, look, I'm not here going, Ayew's the best player in the world. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, for me, I defend players. I almost play devil's advocate sometimes, because I'm like, I just see it's easy to hate. It's easy to get emotional and go, that player's crap, get him out of my club. And I just go, that's when I get defensive, because I'm like, I'm almost like defending. I'm like, well, that's not, they're not there to defend themselves. So I'll put up a defense. Now, I agree with so much of what you've said, mate. Like, and I do. And I don't think he should be starting every game. My God, no. Also, I don't think he should be starting games against teams that we should be beating, or that we should be, having a chance against. I agree with you. He should be maybe finishing those games, but against teams that we're likely to get hammered against. I do think he offers you more by breaking up play, by winning the free kicks, and what we do with them is not his fault. But I think, I just think he offers more when we are likely to get beaten. But just because he's not a flair player, again, people hate on him, but it is what it is. Perfect point there by Tom. Fakundu is a brilliant player, and I would love to sign him. I don't think we will, obviously. I would love to have him at our club, but he has also cost us more than Ayew, and I think Ayew has done more. You looked at everything overall. I think you technically should say, realistically, and hot take here, Ayew has been the better player for us overall when it comes to stats and what he's done. And if you looked at everything over Buonanotte, but Buonanotte takes on a few players and everyone goes, "Oh my God, he's the best thing since Mahrez." It's look at it logically.
Luke, I know you need to jump. Just give me a score prediction, quick, Luke.
I'm going to go Tottenham 2, Leicester City 1. Same as my preview. I might change that in the pre-match when I see the starting 11. But Rich, man, I really enjoyed doing that view. It was good to meet you, mate. You're a legend. I really enjoyed having you on. I'll see you guys for the pre-match, yeah?
I'll see you later, mate. Thank you so much, Luke. Much appreciated. But just to quickly say, Rich, yeah, I am in the middle of you and Luke with I think Ayew should not be a starter. And there is a concerning some concerning that came out in, I think it was in Percy's article early in the week, and he actually said that Ayew apparently is disappointed with his game time, which I found very interesting because I think he's played a lot of games. But there is 100% an agenda, undoubtedly, because people will moan about him, but then they won't moan at Mavididi when he puts in an absolute stinker. They'll say, "Oh, Mavididi," not everybody. A lot of people do say Mavididi's stinking the place out. But I did see as well on that Tom Colomos article that I brought up earlier. He said that Mavididi is disheartened that Leicester are looking for a winger in the transfer market, and I'm like, mate, you've been average. You've been average.
Play better. Yeah,
exactly.
We wouldn't be looking for one if we had, someone that was banging in the goals and assists and creating chances and to quickly touch on that point, mate, if you wouldn't mind. I'm sorry, I probably cut you off there. Apologies.
No.
Regarding the article again, of course he's not going to be happy with his playing time. He'll want to play 90 minutes every game. But guess what? I want players that want to play 90 minutes every game. So actually, that to me is a complete almost non-point. Every player that's not playing the full 90 every match should be disappointed in their game time, because they're Premier League players who want, it's like Alan Shearer always says about extra. He says, you want to play every single minute. You should want, this is a gift, an absolute gift that you've got, that you can play football to the level you have. So you should absolutely want to play every single second, unless you're feeling like you're going to get injured and you go, right, I just need a minute. Fair enough. But that's because you don't want to get injured so that you can't play more football. So to me, if he said, every single player that's not played every full 90 should be disappointed with their game time. And that's the way I feel. When I get taken off at 11s, I'm seething. I'll do it for the team. I'll go, yeah, no worries, mate, off I go. But I'm sat there drinking my water going, oh, God, I could make a difference here if I was on. You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
Yeah, and I think it does show how weak some of our players are. The fact that Mavididi is allegedly disheartened that we're looking for a winger. If you were a professional, if you were a proper pro and ambitious, you would see it as, okay, the club are bringing in another winger. That's me. That's my time to raise my game. You know what I mean? Competition is only a good thing, right? It's what we need, if anything. So, what's your score prediction then, Rich, for the Spurs game? And I'll get the chats in.
Yeah, 2-1, buddy, for us. Like I said, I think Tottenham will score first, and then I think they'll fall off a cliff. It'll be the game of two halves again. Both teams, interestingly, are teams of two halves. Obviously Leicester haven't managed to pull a full 90 together, but neither have Tottenham really. So yeah, for me, it's they'll win the first half, we'll win the second.
Lovely stuff. Let's see what some of the chat is saying here. Ben reckons a Maddison free kick in the 97th minute. LCFC Rude says 4-0 win for Leicester. Don James says 3-2 to Spurs. Yeah. Where's the other one? There was some more down here. 4-0 Leicester. All boxed up says Spurs to win 4-1. Andreas reckons a 2-1 Leicester win. John thinks 3-1 Spurs. Isaac says 2-1 Leicester. Just to quickly ask this. It's not something I've thought about, but yeah, I'll get it sorted, Thomas, mate. If you're on Blue Sky, I know a lot of people are on this Blue Sky thing. I haven't looked that much into it. I think it's like the original founder of Twitter has set up this Blue Sky thing, a less toxic Twitter, a pre-Elon Musk Twitter, apparently. So there we go. That might be one for you to look at, Rich. Blue Sky, mate. It's a nice one, apparently. So yeah, I'll let you know. Kunal reckons a 4-3 Leicester one. I'm going to go for I'm going to say 3-0 Spurs. Sorry, guys. 3-0 Spurs. I think we're in the mud. I hope I'm wrong. But there we go. Right. Rich, mate, thank you so much for joining again. Hopefully, mate, if you're free every Sunday at this time, we'll get you on as many Sundays you're free, mate. We'll get you on.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, I'm available.
Lovely stuff. What time are you playing, mate? What time are you playing football?
It's actually 2:30 apparently. So dentist o'clock. Yeah.
Oh, so you'll miss the game then?
Yeah, it's annoying. I'm so fuming about it, mate. To be honest with you, but like I say, I love playing, so and I need to lose something. And it's God, yeah. And so I'm going to miss it.
Little breaks. Check the score.
Yeah, exactly. When I get pulled off at 60 and I'm fuming, I'm just going to be looking at the game. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks again, Rich. Thanks to everybody in the chat for getting their comments in, and make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to hit subscribe. There's been over 290 of you basically for the whole hour. So thank you so much. We will see you at 1:40 p.m. To react to the team news and then match day live and all of that good stuff. So we'll see you then. Thanks all. See you soon. Bye-bye.